Judy is a beginner quilter struggling to pick a pattern. Nancy is making a quilt for her sister. And Norma is searching for fabric matchers that are just right. Let's help them out. Hi, it's Fran Morgan with Fabric Café, and I'm your fabric matchmaker. It can be difficult to pick the perfect pattern to help your focus fabric be the star of the show. Sometimes the best way to do that is to move your fabric positions around. So today we're going to change things up a little and talk about when it's a good idea to change your fabrics around in a pattern. So let's check out the first one. Now our first fabric was sent in by Judy, and Judy, this is gorgeous fabric. I love that it's Valentine. I don't see a lot of Valentine fabric, and this is gorgeous. It has all the right things for Valentine's. We have a box of chocolate, which of course is mandatory for Valentine's, along with our roses that are just gorgeous. But we also have some little love notes in here, some very beautiful lace like handkerchiefs or doilies or anything like that. Lots of ribbons, lots of flowers. I think it is just precious, precious fabric. So let's see what she has to say about this. Thanks to Fabric Café, I am a beginner quilter. This fabric was gifted to me and I am struggling to find matches for it. Besides finding fabric, a pattern is difficult to visualize too. Can you please help me? I plan to gift this quilt to my sister. Thank you so much, Judy. Well, Judy, I think we have the perfect thing for your fabric. Now, Judy, we put your fabric into the Amore pattern, which I think is perfect because you have a beautiful Valentine's feeling fabric. And we have this space right here that has a nice big area so that a lot of that, all those little Valentine trinkets are gonna show up. And I absolutely love that. And of course we have our heart here that is put together with 2 half square triangles and a couple of stitch and flip squares there. It goes together really easy, really fast, and it looks really dynamic. Let's go check this out on the table and talk about your fabric and the placement of your fabric. So the pattern is actually written so that the focus fabric is in the hearts and the number 3 pattern is in the square. But I thought this was the perfect pattern for Judy's fabric. So I'm doing a little swap-a-roo, and the reason why is because her fabric is a little bit larger print, and I really wanted to show it off in this number 3 position. So we have put her fabric there. Now we have paired her fabric with 2 others, this beautiful red for our focus and a nice, wonderful kind of it's roses that's a tone on tone. So what this does is it puts our wonderful red here in our heart so that the hearts are really gonna stand out and show that sisterly love, which we know that Judy's making this for your sister. So everywhere you see this kind of wavy focus fabric here is now gonna be the red. So for our number 2, like I said, we have this kind of a tone on tone, and this is like roses, but it's all like done in creams and beiges. So it's the perfect number 2. It is going to go everywhere you see the cream here. And then, as we mentioned, we are going to put Judy's fabric in the number 3 position. Because of the scale, I wanted to make sure that I put it in a place where you're really going to see it, it's really going to shine. And another reason is this heart here is made in 4 pieces, and I didn't want to cut her fabric up. I really wanted it to be like the star of the show. Loved this pattern for her fabric. All I had to do was just switch positions and put it in the number 3 so that it really shows off in that square. I think it worked perfect. I love the way the red hearts just pop, and that floral background is just so pretty. I like the red on that, and I think it really picks up the essence of your fabric, Judy. The other thing I really like about this is we had our number 3 fabric on the border, so it puts a lot of interest on the border. When looking at a pattern and you have a nice print like this, you find one like Amore that you love, don't be afraid to switch them up so that you can really show it off and see that beautiful scale because of the big block and that bigger print. So I think it turned out great. I really, really like it. All right, so Judy, for participating in the Matchmaker, We are going to send you the Go Bold book that has the Amore pattern in it, as well as 1 yard of the fabric number 1 and fabric number 2. And then we're going to get to see that fabric number 3 in the quilt. And I hope you send us a picture if you make this up, and I hope your sister loves it. Now, before I share this next fabulous fabric with you, I want to point out the quilt behind me. This quilt is called Sweet Treats. It is a fat quarter quilt from our Fat Quarter Quilting Fun book. Now, we've named it Sweet Treats because it's kind of reminiscent of those little foil wrapped chocolates that we all love this time of year, and I think it's perfect. What fun it could be in some great Valentine fabric. Okay, now let's look at this gorgeous fabric. Now, it's not an exact match of Judy's, but it has a very similar feel. It has all of this Valentine motifs that we have here, our box of chocolates, our roses, some beautiful red bows with some little edging on it. It's just wonderful for Valentine's. And it too is a very large scale print. Now in this case, I have put it in the number 1 position. So give me a minute and we're going to talk about switching some positions up in a moment. You'll get to see some images. So in our number 1 position, that means that it's going to go right here where the hearts are. Now these hearts are made like a 4-patch, 2 half square triangles and some stitch and flip little pieces here. And it's going to be great, and it's going to pick up all of the essence of Valentine's. Now our number 2 fabric is the same similar fabric like Judy had. It's the tone-on-tone roses, and that'll be in the background here. And then our number 3 is this beautiful red that has the little flourish and swirls on it, just to kind of give it a little romance, subtle romance there. And that is going to go in our number 3 position, which is in the center of the alternate block as well as on the border. Okay, now I'm going to share an image with you having our wonderful Valentine fabric in the focus position in our hearts. And as you can see, it looks amazing. I love the fact that you get just a little bit of all of the color in the heart here from our Valentine fabric with our red in the center and on the border. However, because this is a larger scale print, I like to always put my larger scale fabrics in a bigger area so that you can really show them off. So if we swap that so that you can see more of it without cutting it up, let's put this in the number 3 position. Our red is in the heart as the number 1 now, and then of course our number 2 stays the same as our background. This is similar to Judy's, so you can see you can do it either way. So when you're picking a pattern for larger prints, be sure to consider that, and don't bypass a pattern just because the focus fabric is cut up. See if you can switch those positions. All right, let's get you the kit information on this because it is sweet, guys. It is called Sweet Gift. This is our Amore pattern from the Go Bold with 3 yard quilts. So our next fabric was sent in by Nancy, and Nancy sent us in this really fun fabric. We have different wine glasses and some little bunches of grapes all on a black mottled background. This is fun fabric. I love that there's a little white glass of wine and a little red glass of wine, and we have our white grapes and our red grapes. It is whimsical and fun and charming. Let's see what Nancy has to say about this fabric. I bought this fabric to make a quilt for my sister. She loves red wine, and I thought this fabric was perfect. However, I don't want the quilt to be too dark. I want this fabric to be the focus. I'm stumped. I've been sewing for over 50 years. I love quilting, but have only been doing it for just over a year. Well, Nancy, I think we have the perfect solution for you. Let's go check out the quilt. Now, this is the Interlock quilt, and this one is from Make It Modern with 3 yard quilts, and it's a great pattern when you have smaller prints like Nancy does. Now, this is a really cool, it's kind of a disappearing block. The block is right here, and it's great for those small prints, like I said. So in this particular quilt, this is our focus fabric here. So this is where Nancy's fabric's gonna go. These are a little bit smaller areas that are gonna come together. This smaller area is perfect for a smaller print like Nancy's, but she wants to put it in the focus position. Now let's get all into that a little bit more at the table, and we'll talk about scale. So Nancy, your fabric is darling. It is a smaller print, which is sometimes challenging with focus fabrics. You know, it kind of is counterintuitive. Usually you think you've got this great big beautiful floral and it's really challenging to get it into a block. But in all honesty, I think the smaller prints can be a little bit more challenging in picking a pattern. You do need to find a pattern that has a little bit smaller block when you're working with a smaller print. The reason why that is because you want to keep the scale appropriate for the print so it stays the focus and it really works. This is the reason why I chose the interlock pattern for your fabric. So we have this in the focus position here, and if you'll see this kind of mottled green and blue spot right here, this is where the focus fabric will go. This is where your fabric will go. And as you can see, these are a little bit smaller areas, so the little touches of wine glasses are going to be the perfect scale for this area. Now, the other thing I want to mention about your fabric in this pattern is that because it's a smaller print, the interest is going to come a lot from the piecing of the quilt. So if you are at home and you're working with a smaller print, try to choose something that has some more interesting details to help add to the wonderful dynamic of the quilt, because sometimes the smaller prints kind of come across either like a polka dot or something like, or a stripe or something like that. But this will help it, and pairing it with two plain fabrics. So let's talk about that. So my fabric number 2 here is a tone on tone. We've got a little bit of beige and cream in the background. This number 2 fabric is picking up all of the beautiful colors into this wine glass here that has kind of that same kind of cream and beige in it. Our number 2 is going to go everywhere you see the lime green here. That's going to recede to the back. Now our number 3 fabric, this gorgeous kind of mottled red with some vines and some little flowers there, just very small, very subtle. This color is going to pick up all of the red wine glasses so that it brings it all together and it unifies it. The red is going to go everywhere the blue is here, a little on the border and then in all of these spots here. Now, these pairings are very important when you're using a small scale focus fabric. These two fabrics unify it and bring your eye back to your focus fabric. So it's really, really going to help. Let's look at an image of this all pulled together so you can see what I'm talking about. The interlock pattern is a really dynamic pattern with some interest in the piecing, but that focus fabric still stands out because the cream recedes, the red gives us a little bit of layering on top so that it pulls those red wine glasses out. So it's really a striking quilt. And you know what? You're going to look twice at it, because when you take the first look, you're going to go, wow. Then you're going to take the second look and you're going to go, wow, there's little wine glasses on that fabric, which is great, which is exactly what we want. So Nancy, I hope this works perfect for you. I cannot wait to see if your sister loves it, and send us a picture if you make it up. Nancy, we're going to be sending you 1 yard of your fabric 2, 1 yard of your fabric 3, as well as the book Make It Modern with 3-Yard Quilts. This has the interlock pattern in it. All right, let's check out what we have for everyone else. Now, because I couldn't find the exact match of Nancy's fabric with those wine bottles on it and was able to find something else, but it's a little bit larger print, I decided to switch patterns and put it in Enchanting. Now, this is perfect because we're talking about scale. So Nancy's wine bottles are very small, and the new fabric has a little bit bigger pattern on it and print, so I wanted to go with a bigger block. So it's going to be this right here, which is going to accommodate a much larger print. And I also think it has some really good interest, very similar to Interlock with our matching corners here, a little bit of a bordered block. I just think it's really dynamic for a little bit larger print. So let's get it on the table and check out that fabric. This is gorgeous fabric. I just love it. So for our focus fabric that we'll be putting in Enchanting, we have all of these wine bottles, and we have all different colors and they're rich jewel tones. And what puts the extra little bling on top for me is we have a lot of gold metallic patterning in our corkscrews, on our wine bottles, on our wine glasses. It is just gorgeous. So this is a larger scale print, so I needed a larger block. And it's gonna go right here where you see this black and white print here. It's gonna be perfect for this. Can't wait to show you the image, it's so good. All right, now we've paired it with the same two fabrics because I really love this kind of beige and cream kind of swirling together. And you know, that's perfect, it's a swirl. You know, when you get your wine, you're swirling it, it's great, you know. So it works with this fabric so well. It's gonna be our background. Everywhere you see the white here is gonna be this beautiful cream movement fabric. Then for our red, we have that same red with the texture with a little bit of a floral vine on there, some lights and some darks. It's gonna pick up all of our reds in our wine bottles and our wine glasses. That is gonna go everywhere you see the red on this quilt. So love these colors together. Love the pop of this focus fabric. Nancy, thank you so much for inspiring this because I love the rich color that the focus fabric has in that bigger block. Because remember, let me reiterate, bigger print, bigger block, perfect. And it looks really good in this image. I also really like the enchanted pattern and how it has some movement to it. It has a little bit of diagonal movement, because the red and the focus fabric kind of travel together, which is very cool. It's a great, great pattern, super easy to put together. All right, let's get you the kit information on this. It is called Wine and Friendship. It is our enchanting pattern from the book, The Magic of 3-Yard Quilts. So our next fabric was sent in by Norma. And Norma, this fabric is gorgeous. It is so dramatic and the colors are so gorgeous. So let's start with, we have a nice deep black background, which makes all of our red florals and our yellow florals pop off the black background. It is striking how gorgeous this is. And I really love all of the extra detail in the center of your flowers, the little touches of green in the leaves. It is really gorgeous. All right, let's see what Norma has to say about this. Hi, Fran. Large flowered fabric has always been one that catches my eye. I want to make a special quilt for a resident in our local nursing home, but I haven't found fabrics to go with it that felt just right. I sure would appreciate your help. Thank you for the tips that make it easier to quilt and have fun doing it. Norma. Well, thank you, Norma. I think we've got just the thing for you. Let's go check it out. Now, this is our United pattern, and it has a really nice size block right here. So, Norma, your gorgeous large scale fabric is just going to pop and be beautiful right here in this position. Now, it also has a little bit of peekaboos right in here, so you're going to get some of the color from the large print fabric, which is going to be gorgeous. And then it's just easily put together here with some sashing around the block with those corner blocks, and then a secondary here. It's going to go together easy, and it's that nice big block to really show off your focus fabric. Let's go check it out. Now, I'm going to talk just a minute about scale again and choosing your fabric placement. We have put Norma's fabric in the #1 position. It's a very large scale fabric, and it's gorgeous. So because of that, I wanted to pick a pattern that had a focus position that was really large. And the United pattern works perfectly for this. So this is what's going to happen, which is really cool. We have Norma's in the #1, all of these gorgeous florals. We've got a nice big square here to really show it off. But we have something a little extra special too. We have these little corner blocks that are done with strip piecing, so that it's going to have little touches of color from her focus fabric just peekabooing through here, which is going to make it really cool. So usually my rule of thumb is always big scale fabric, big block, but every once in a while having it cut up is a little extra special tip. So I really like it in this pattern because of that reason. Now, when you have a great big print like this, it is the star of the show, and it demands to be the star of the show because it is so dramatic. I'm putting it with 2 more simple patterned fabrics so that it continues to really stand out. So our #2 fabric is this great movement in golds that pick up the gold from our focus fabric in these flowers here. This is going to be everywhere you see the white. Just gives us a nice warm background without being too garish and without competing with our focus fabric. Our number 3 fabric is the black, and I chose the black because you know I love to do this. We have a black background on our focus fabric. So whenever you pull your number 3 as the black and keeping it simple when it's large like this, it's going to give you that nice frame. So that black is going to go everywhere this blue is, a little bit on the border to, frame our beautiful picture here. And it's going to keep it all very cohesive. And what you're going to see first, absolutely, is this gorgeous focus fabric. And you can see how striking it is in this pattern. This is a very simple pattern put together with strip piecing, and it is perfect for these really large prints like this. And I just think it just turned out beautiful. I'm dumbstruck because I really love the rich colors and the drama that it creates. So Norma, I hope that the recipient of this is going to be just tickled pink. I think it turned out gorgeous. I am going to be sending you 1 yard of the number 2 fabric and 1 yard of the number 3 fabric, as well as the book Make It Patriotic. This has the United pattern in it. So I hope you love it, and I hope if you make it up that you send us a picture. Now let's check out what Norma has inspired for everyone else. I was able to find the exact fabric that Norma sent in, which doesn't happen that often, but when it does, I get really excited because her fabric is gorgeous. So once again, this very large print with all this beautiful floral of gold and red and some green, that dark rich black background in our focus position, also in our little corner blocks here, which are just so perfect. Then our number 2, the really rich kind of tone-on-tone gold with lots of movement going in that number 2 position, everywhere you see the off-white on this quilt. And then our number 3 is the great black that matches the background, like I mentioned before. It's going to go where the blue is here, and it's really just going to frame it all out and tie it all together. So let me get you the kit information on this one. It is called Breathtaking Bouquet. It is the United pattern from the Make It Patriotic with 3 Yard Quilts book. Now I want to give a special shout out to Kathy. Kathy sent in fabric for episode 16, and she sent us a photo, and we've put her fabric in the Saltillo pattern. Her fabric is in the focus position, and it was a very large, like tropical leaf. And we paired it with a great turquoise and cream, and wow, Kathy, this turned out stunning. It's a great job on this. Really appreciate it. Love that focus fabric of yours on the border too. I really think it helps bring it all together and adds so much spice to the quilt. I just really, really like it. So thank you so much for sending in a picture. We really appreciate it. Now I want to thank everyone that participated today and sent in fabric. We really appreciate it. If you have participated in the past and have made your quilt, I would love to see it, just like Kathy's. We can give you a shout out. Send us your pictures to Matchmaker at fabriccafe.com. And if you would like to see some other ideas on how to change up 3 Yard quilts, be sure to watch the video that pops up. It's Fran Morgan, your fabric matchmaker.